have it, the greatest 1980s musical comedy car chase movie ever made, with a little cameo there at the end by Steven Spielberg to rekindle fond memories of 1941. And we have the mob to thank for their help in getting permission to drive the Bluesmobile through the Chicago courthouse lobby. So thanks, you guys. Okay, I want to let you know that next week, week 3 of Joe Bob's Summer School is Bodybuilding 304, Applied Anatomy and Biomechanics. That's right, our first upper division course. Few people realize that I have watched more aerobics videos, many of them in slow motion, than any man alive. And by the time you finish watching our 2 movies, Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer, you will look just like Arnold Schwarzenegger, I promise it. And workout pro Karen Voigt will be here as our guest lecturer. But, boy, are we in luck now. I'm Professor Joe Bob Briggs, and for the next 2 hours, you get to watch a weenie wearing lipstick running through the desert, giggling and trying to find his stolen bike. It's Pee-wee's Big Adventure, the movie that gave new meaning to the word Pee-wee. And it's like a giant human cartoon where these cardboard cutout actors run around with giant thumbs and toothbrushes and jump off trains and talk like nerds. And basically, if you're 5 years old or younger, this one's for you. Of course, in retrospect, if you keep in mind what we now know about Pee-wee Herman, the movie holds new meaning. So if you haven't seen it since 1985, and since this is Pop Culture 201, you'll find the subtext now wrought with significance. Okay, let's do those drive-in totals. We have no dead bodies, 2 breasts, both of them on Mark Holton, 1 bathtub wrestling match, 1 bicycle chase, 1 motorcycle crash, burning pet store, bar top tequila dance, gratuitous Milton Berle, kung fu, 2 stars. Check it out, and I'll be here to analyze it for you along the way. Go. This is one of those movies where they finished it and they said, we did put some plot in, didn't we? Oh, yeah, we did. I mean, I didn't, but I think Bill did. And did you put in the plot, Bill? No, but Sam put in the plot. Sam? Okay, don't tell me. We forgot the plot again, didn't we? In virtual revolt over the 2-star rating given to Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I mean, we're going to have to revise it upward just to 3 stars just to make these people happy. But did you guys enjoy that famous nya, nya, nya scene with Francis the Fat Kid? You know, did not, did too, did not. Is that funny to you? That's always funny, and it did not, did too. Okay, can we talk about subtext for just a minute here? Dottie, there are things about me that you wouldn't understand, couldn't understand, shouldn't understand. Portentous, huh? You guys aren't going to be able to concentrate, though, until I answer the question that's on everybody's mind, right? We all want to know the same thing. Which porno movies was Pee-wee Herman watching when he was arrested for indecent exposure? Well, the crack TNT Research Department has dug deep and found the titles. Are you ready? Nancy Nurse. That's not a very good movie. Turn Up the Heat has a couple of scenes in it. Tiger Shark. Tiger Shark, excellent movie, 4-star movie. Of course, it wasn't Pee-wee Herman who was caught rousting a puppy. It was Paul Reubens, the guy who plays Pee-wee Herman. And we invited Paul to come be a guest lecturer tonight, but he still doesn't like to appear in public. The guy's, you know, and I don't blame him because he got a lot of flack for that. But the guy's visiting his parents in Sarasota one day. He's bored, so he goes down to the South Trail XXX to unwind, which, by the way, is an excellent theater for that part of South Florida. But it's such a slow night down at Sarasota PD that they send not 1 but 4 undercover cops down to the South Trail. Well, there were hardly that many people in the theater. So the Sarasota County Sheriff's affidavit said that a detective arrested him in the lobby. Think about that. If the cops arrested him in the lobby, that means the cops sat through the whole movie. What kind of sting operation is that? I mean, the only other explanation is maybe he just went to the lobby for popcorn and they arrested him, but impossible. How would he hold the box? So, they were just covering their butts so they could expense their movie tickets. Anyway, that's what it sounds like to me. Why am I the only one who notices these things, though? Okay, we'll talk later about how Paul Reubens may have subconsciously got himself arrested on purpose. So let's get back to the flick. I've driven by that South Trail Adult Theater. Heck, I remember when the old North Trail was still open. Remember that? They just called it the Trail, you know, before the South Trail. But Sarasota hadn't done such a good job of historical preservation. They're tearing those things down. There by the great pro wrestler Professor Toru Tanaka as the butler. And by the way, let's keep in mind that Pee-wee's Big Adventure was the first feature directed by Tim Burton when he was 26 years old, before Beetlejuice, before Edward Scissorhands, before Batman, before Mars Attacks, which we're showing here for UFO studies in a few weeks. It was also Danny Elfman's first film score, and now he's one of the biggest composers out there. So you have to think about the fact that Pee-wee's Big Adventure served as the foundation for the soon-to-be pervasive live-action cartoons accompanied by whimsical scores, both the small personal films and the mega-budgeted and mega-marketed blockbusters. And you're not listening to me, are you? You're not paying attention. All right, let's all do the Pee Wee Herman laugh, okay? Here, I'll start. No, that's a seal laugh, isn't it? How do you do the Pee Wee? That was terrible. That's good. That's it. It's a little hiccupy thing, isn't it? You have to do. Okay, everybody. Okay, keep practicing. Pop Culture Night on TNT. The official Pee Wee Herman laugh lesson. Thank you. It's in the middle, doesn't it? Kind of drags at the end. Not too peppy at the beginning, now that I think about it. Why are they speaking French? You guys love this movie. Tell me, why are they speaking French? You know? Does anybody explain that? Okay, that's Diane Salinger as Simone, the waitress with the inexplicable crush on Pee-wee. And Tim Burton reunited the two of them in Batman Returns as the Penguin's parents. Anyhow, this movie is getting into the areas now where the eggheads go crazy. And I have several academic articles here, actual academic articles like The Playhouse of the Signifier, Reading Pee-wee Herman, The Cabinet of Dr. Pee-wee, Consumerism and Sexual Terror. And here's my favorite, The Sissy Boy, the Fat Ladies, and the Dykes, Queerness and as Gender in Pee-wee's World. That's and/as. Those are two words I didn't think had that kind of relationship. Anyway, let me read first from The Playhouse of the Signifier. Pee-wee's mailman is a mail lady. A phrase that, given the overdeterminations encoded by the sexual hijinks on the show, takes on an added resonance. The male, M-A-L-E, lady. It doesn't take very long to recognize the gay subtext, intertext, or just plain text of the Pee-wee episodes. You know, we have a male girl. Does that mean we have a gay subtext or intertext or whatever? Don't answer that. Okay. This is from The Cabinet of Dr. Pee-wee by, all right. It's the part where they actually quote from another article, Pee-wee Herman, the homosexual subtext, and this is about the men in Pee-wee's Playhouse. Each represents a specific gay male icon, prominent fantasy figures in homosexual pornography, including the sailor, the black cowboy, and the muscular, scantily clad lifeguard, not to mention the escaped con in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. In the film, we see explicit references to gay fantasy in 2 instances of drag, blah, 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 irreverent gay camp aesthetic, disguised illusions. So, what do these guys say about bosom buddies, you know? Their EKGs must go off the charts in that one. All right, I need to read one more of them from the Sissy Boy article. And this one says, Simone the waitress serves as Pee-wee's female double, representing parallels to his gay femininity in all its problematic construction. These and other examples of Pee-wee and women characters bonding and doubling are generally worked out as moments of gay femininity connecting with straight femininity rather than as moments in which heterocentrist notions of gayness as a masquerade of straight femaleness are being evoked. Actually, when you think about it, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Okay, let's get back to the movie. I wonder if the guys who write these articles are gay. Well, wasn't that wacky? This movie kind of, whoops. Okay, my favorite scene, though, is Jan Hooks as the Alamo tour guide. According to Tim Burton, that scene was all improvised, and Jan Hooks ended up on Saturday Night Live the year after this movie came out. Her first job, though, was on a sketch comedy show on our sister station, TBS. Hysterical show. Ted canceled it, right? What was that show called? I think it was called Tush, because Bill Tush was the host, right? Bill Tush now of CNN Entertainment News. But I should point out that this movie was co-written by the late, great Phil Hartman. These guys all knew each other from the Groundlings, that improvisational theater group out in L.A. Paul Reubens invented the character of Pee Wee Herman at the Groundlings. He did a special for HBO in 1981. He got extremely popular doing a lot of Letterman. And this movie in '85, he started the Saturday morning kids show, Pee Wee's Playhouse, another big hit. He did the voice of the little robot pilot for Star Tours at Disneyland, you know, where you stand in line for an hour and a half to go on a fake roller coaster, that one. Listen to that voice next time you do that, because then he makes Big Top Pee Wee, and Big Top Pee Wee was a big top flop. So he kind of burned out on Pee Wee's Playhouse, and then he filmed the 2 final seasons in 1 year. And then, of course, he went down to Sarasota to work on his tan and got nabbed for waxing his spear. So CBS canceled the show, and his star was yanked from Hollywood Boulevard. I thought that was kind of cruel. And Pee Wee Herman was pretty much dead after that. So maybe on purpose. You know, that's something to think about. But Paul Reubens lives. He's in a new movie, Mystery Men, about a bunch of lame superhero wannabes. That looks great to me. All right. Yak, yak, yak. Back to the movie. You guys who know... Oh, by the way, do you know who played the gay porno fantasy Cowboy Curtis in Pee Wee's Playhouse? That's what they call him, the gay porno fantasy Cowboy Curtis in Pee Wee's Playhouse. Larry Fishburne, Lawrence Fishburne. You knew that. Okay. Gay porno fantasy, that's the Eggheads term, not mine. But and by the way, did I mention the symbolism that the Eggheads point out in the name Pee Wee Herman? Her man. See? And I'm sure Paul Reubens sat down and thought all this out when he came up with the character. You know, people get PhDs for this stuff. Pee Wee Spastic Dance. That was pretty good, right? And now yet another scene where Pee Wee's in drag. You know what the professors have to say about that? I'm going to quote here. The homosexual subtext of cross-dressing, the implicitly queer playhouse as closet, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, did you guys recognize, Elvira as one of the biker mamas? You're thrilled, aren't you? And speaking of late-night women, it's time once again for Joe Bob's Jailbreak, where we read letters from our great country's prisons. And to help us out is the TNT mail girl herself, Rusty. Rusty, what do you think about that egghead who says that having a mail girl is a pun on male as in male gender?
What?
Do you think we have a gay subtext is what they're asking?
Joe Bob, your subtext, it's about as straight as they come.
Okay, well, there's a sentence that the graduate students would have a field day with.
By
Understand?
the way, is that your foot, or are you just happy to see me?
Oh, well, both, I guess.
Oh, I get it. In honor of Pee Wee.
Have you ever kissed a girl in the mouth?
Here's a letter, by the way. It's from Alan Breckenridge at the Buckingham Correctional Center in Dillwyn, Virginia.
You didn't really answer that question, did you? Hey, Joe Bob, I only asked because we were discussing gay subtext on the show. It's relevant to what we're talking about. What's up, dude? I was watching the movie Carrie, and man, those ladies look real good. In Carrie? I really am glad they have someone who knows what narrating is. When Gilbert Gottfried was narrating, he sounded like he was retarded. His voice was so irritating that I wouldn't watch the show. You were a real cool dude. I'm in prison for 100 years, and there isn't a whole lot to watch on TV. Until Saturday nights when I turn on the tube to watch your programs. Let the mail lady know I think she is a bomb. And really makes getting mail a real dream come true. Well, I guess I should go for now, but not forever. Be cool, dude. Alan Breckenridge, Dillwyn, Virginia, number 142458 at the Buckingham Correctional Facility. I really do love your show. Keep up the good work. That is so sad, isn't it? I'm in prison for 100 years and there isn't a whole lot to watch on TV. Life is rough in jail, isn't it, Alan? I don't think your case is going to help the prison reformers, though. Look on the bright side, though. It can only get better. TV can only get better. Appreciate the support, bud. We love a captive audience. Buckingham Correctional Center is in Dillwyn, Virginia. Population 12,000, opened in 1982. And the prison has 941 medium security male inmates with an emphasis on parole violators and sex offenders. So, Alan, free your mind and your butt will follow. But try to do it within the confines of parole, okay? How many prisoners you think get beat up if one of them wants to watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Oh, man, 100 years. Whew. That wasn't shoplifting, was it, Alan? Jerry Lewis, right? The wacky chase scene. And I should point out that that was Twisted Sister as the heavy metal band in the middle of the chase. Quick, name a Twisted Sister song. You bunch of trailer trash. All right, let's play this baby out. The hilarious conclusion to Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Go. Twisted Sister is the official band of all colleges where they have puking your brains out as a major, right? And we do have that available here at Joe Bob Summer School later on.
Back to Joe Bob Summer School and Pee-wee's Big Adventure on TNT.
James Brolin as the screen version of Pee-wee, and Morgan Fairchild as Dottie. I had forgotten that part at the end there. Okay, let's review the plot of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Bike stolen. Pee-wee searches for bike. Bike recovered. And that's about it. Big hit in 1985. Okay, I want to remind you that next week on Joe Bob Summer School, Bodybuilding 304, Applied Anatomy and Biomechanics, will be showing works from the early career of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Conan the Barbarian, and Conan the Destroyer, all while working out our gluteus maximus with fitness expert Karen Voigt. Or that would actually be plural, gluteus maximi. And that's it for Pop Culture 201. I'm Professor Joe Bob Briggs, reminding you that in the words of Confucius, man who lives in glass house should change in basement. Did you guys hear the one about the guy who goes to a bar and he gets really drunk? I mean, really, really, really drunk. And when the bar closes, he gets up to go home. And as he's stumbling out the door, this nun is walking down the sidewalk. So the guy lurches over to the nun and he punches her in the face. And the nun's really surprised, but before she can do or say anything, he punches her again. This time she falls down. So the guy stumbles over to her, he kicks the nun in the stomach. And then he picks her up and he throws her into a wall. By this time the nun's weak and she can't move very much, so the guy finally leans over and he puts his face right up next to hers and he says, "Not very strong tonight, are you, Batman?" Joe Bob Briggs reminding you that the drive-in will never die. 2 Polish nuns. It's already a good joke, isn't it? 2 Polish nuns have just arrived in America by boat. So one nun says to the other, "I hear the people of this country actually eat dogs." The other nun says, "Well, that's odd, but if we shall live in America, we might as well do as the Americans do." So the Mother Superior nods and she points to this hot dog vendor. They walk over to the cart and they order 2 dogs. The vendor wraps the hot dogs and hands them over the counter. The nuns are all excited and they hurry over to a bench to eat them. Mother Superior is the first to open hers. She stares at it for a second, and then she starts to blush, and she leans over to the other nun, and she whispers quietly, "What part did you get?"